Then Elihu said, "Do you think this is just? You say I am in the right, not God. Yet you ask him, what profit is it to me then, and what do I gain by not sinning?" I would like to reply to you and to your friends with you. Look up at the heavens and see. Gaze at the clouds so high above you. If you sin, how does what affect you? If your sins are many, are those not that due to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hands? Your weakness only affects humans like yourself, and your righteousness only other people. People cry out under a load of oppression. They plead for relief from the arm of the powerful, but no one says, "Where is God my Maker? Who gives song in the night? Who teaches us more than he teaches the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds in the sky?" He does not answer when people cry out because of the arrogance of the wicked. Indeed, God does not listen to their empty plea. The Almighty pays no attention to it. How much less, then, will He listen when you say that you do not see Him? Then your case is before Him, and you must wait for Him. And further, that His anger never punishes, and He does not take the least notice of weakness. So Job opens his mouth with empty talk. Without knowledge, he multiplies words. Elihu continued, "Bear with me a little longer, and I will show you that there is no more to be said in God's behalf. I get my knowledge from Alpha. I will ascribe justice to my Maker. Be assured that my words are not false. One who has perfect knowledge is with you. God is mighty, but despises no one. He is mighty and firm in his purpose. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted their rights. He does not take his eyes off the righteous. He enthrones them with kings and exalts them forever. But if people are bound in chains, held fast by cord of affliction, he tells them what they have done, that they have sinned arrogantly. He makes them return to correction and commands them to repent of their evil. If they obey and serve him, they will spend the rest of their days in prosperity, and their years in contentment. But if they do not listen, they will perish by the sword and die without knowledge. God bless in heart harbor less resentment. Even when he fetters them, they do not cry for help. They die in their youth among male prostitutes of the Syrians, but those who suffer he delivers in their suffering. He speaks to them in their afflictions. He is he is wooing you from the Jews of these trees to a spacious place free from restriction, to the comfort of your table laden with choice food. But now you are laden with the judgment due the wicked. Judgment and justice have taken hold of you. Be careful that no one entices you by riches. Do not let a rosy bride turn you aside. Would your wealth or even all your mighty efforts sustain you so you do not be in distress? Do not long for the night to drag people away from their homes. Beware of the turning of evil which you seem to prefer to affliction. God is exalted in his power. Who is a teacher like him, who has prescribed his way for him, or said to him, "You have done wrong"? Remember to extol his work, which people have praised in song. All humanity has seen it. Morals gaze on it from afar. How great is God, beyond our understanding. The number of his years is past finding out. He throws up the drops of water which distill as rain to the streams. The clouds pour down their moisture, and abundant showers fall in mankind. Who can understand how he spread out the clouds, how he thunders from his pavilion? See how he scatters his brightness about him, passing the depths of the sea. This is the way he governs the nations and provides from food in abundance. He fills his hands with lightning and commands it to strike its mark. His thunder announces the coming storm. Even the castle makes known its approach. At this my heart found and leaped from its place. Listen to the roar of his voice, to the rumbling that comes from his mouth. He unleashes his lightning beneath the whole heaven and sends it to the end of the earth. After that comes the sound of his roar. He thunders with his majestic voice. When his voice resounds, he holds nothing back. God's voice thunders in marvelous ways. He does great things beyond our understanding. He says to the snow, "Fall in the earth," and to the rain shower, "Be a mighty downpour," so that everyone he has made may know his work. He stops all people from their rubber. The animals take cover. They remain in their den. The tempest comes out from each chamber, the cold from the driving winds. The breath of God produces ice, and the broad water become frozen. He loads the cloud with moisture. He scatters his lightnings through them. At his direction they swirl around. Over the face of the whole earth, to do whatever he commands them. He brings the cloud to punish people. Or to water his earth and show his love. Listen to this, Job. Stop to consider God's wonders. Do you know how God controls the cloud and makes his righteous place? Do you know how the cloud hangs poised? Those wonders of him who has perfect knowledge? Who you who shelter in the close when the land lies hushed under the sound wind, can you join him in spreading out the skies, hard as a mirror of cast bronze? Tell us what we should say to him. We cannot draw up our case because of our darkness. Should he be told that I want to speak? Would anyone ask to be swelled up? How now no one can look at the sun, bright as it is in the skies, after the wind has swept them clean. Out of the north he comes in golden splendor. The Almighty is beyond our reach and exalted in power, in his justice and great righteousness. He does not oppose. Therefore, people reverse him. For does he not have regard for all the wise in heart? The Lord speaks. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. He said, who is this that obscures my plans, my words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me, if you understand. Who marks off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched in me measuring line across it? On what were its footing set, or who laid it cornerstone? while the morning stars sang together, and all the angels shouted for joy. What shut the sea behind the doors when it burst forth from the worms? When I made the clouds its garment, and wrapped it in thick darkness, when I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place, when I said, "This far you may come," and no farther, here is where you're found, waved the harp. Have you ever given orders to the morning, or shown the down its place, that it might take us by the edges and shake the wicked out of it? The earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment. The wicked are denied their light, and their unraised arm is broken. Have you journeyed the spring of the sea, or worked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gate of death been shown to you? Have you seen the gate of the deepest darkness? Have you compre- comprehended the vast expanse of the earth? Tell me, if you know all this. What is the way to the abode of light, and where does darkness reside? Can you take them to their place? Do you know the path to their dwellings? Surely you know, for you were already born. You have lived so many years. Have you entered the storehouse of the snow, or seen the storehouse of the hail, which I reserve for time of trouble, for days of war and battle? What is the way to the place where the lightness is dispersed, or the place where the east winds are scattered over the earth? Who cut a channels for the torrent of rain, and a path for the thunderstorm? Who cuts a channel for the torrents of rain, and a path for the thunderstorm? To water our land where no one lives, on an uninhabited desert, To certify a desolate wasteland and make it proud with grass, does the rain have a father who fathers the drop of dew, from whose womb comes the ice, who gives birth to from frost from the heavens, when the waters become hard as stone, when the surface of the deep is frozen? Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades? Can you loosen Orion's belt? Can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons, or lead out the bear with its cubs? Do you know the laws of the heavens? Can you set up God's dominion over the earth? Can you raise your voice to the cloud and cover yourself with a flood of water? Do you send the lightning bolts on their way? Do you report to you? Where? Here we are. Who gives the ibis wisdom, or gives the roosters understanding? Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? Who can tip over the water jar of the heavens when the dust become hard and he clouds of earth stick together? Do you hunt the prey for the lioness, and satisfy the hunger of lions when they crouch in their dens, or lie in wait in a thicket? Who provides from the food for the raven when its young fly out to God and wander about for lack of food? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears her fawn? Do you count the mouses till they bear? Do you know the time they give birth? They couch down the bring forth their young. Their rubber fangs are ended. Their young sheaves and grow strings thrown in the wires. They live and do not return. Who let the wild donkey go free? Who untied its ropes? I give it the wasteland as its home, the salt flat as its habitat. It's rough at the accommodation in the town. It does not hear a driver's shot. It ranges the hills for its pasture, and searches for any green things. Will the wild ox consent to serve you? Will it stay by your manager at night? Can you hold it to the furrow with the harness? Will it hear the valleys behind you? Will you rely on it for its great strength? Will you leave your have work it? Can you trust it to haul in your grain and bring it to your threshold floor? The wings of the ostrich flaps joyfully, through, though they cannot compare with the wings and feathers of the stork. She lays her egg on the ground and let them warm in the sand, unmindful that a foot may crush man, that some wild animal may trample them. She treats her young harshly, as if they were not her. She cares not that her lover was in vain, for God did not endow her with wisdom, or give her a share of good sense. Yet when she spread her feathers to run, she laughed at horse or rider. Do you give the horse its strength, or clothe its neck with a flowing mane? Do you make it leap like a locust, striking terror with its proud snorting? Its paws fiercely, rejoicing in its strength, and charges into the fray. Enraged at fear, afraid of nothing, it does not shy away from the sword. The quiver rattles against its side. Along with the flashing spear, the lance, its frenzied excitement is eat up the ground. It cannot stand still when the trumpet sound. At the breast of the trumpet is shot a her. It catches the sense, scants the battle from afar. The shout of commanders and the battle cry. Does the hawk take flight by your wisdom, and spread its wings toward the south? Does the eagle soar at your command, and build its nest on high? It dwells on a cliff and stays there at night. A rocky crag is its stronghold. From there it looks for food. Its eyes detect it from afar. Its young ones feast on blood. And where the slain are, there it is. The Lord said to Job, will the one who content with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Then Job replied to the Lord. Then Job answered the Lord, I am unworthily. How can I reply you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer, twice, but I will say no more. Brace yourself like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me. Are you discreet, my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself? Do you have an arm like God's? And can your voice thunder like this? Then adore yourself with glory and splendor, and clothe yourself in honor and majesty. Unleash the fury of your race. Look at all who are flawed and bring them low. Look at all who are flawed, thus humble them. Crush the wicked where they stand. Bury them all in the dust together. Shroud their faces in the grave. Then I myself will admit to you that your own right hand can save you. Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feed on grass like an ox. What stretch it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. Its tail sways like a cedar. The sinews of its teeth are close knit. The bones are tubed of bronze. Of its limbs like a load of iron. Its rank first among the work of God. Yet its maker can approach it with his sword, and his bring it their produce, and all the wild animals prey nearby under the lotus plant its rice. Hidden among the reed in the marsh, the lotuses conceal it in their shadows. The populace by the stream surround it. A raging river does not alarm it. It is secure. Through the Jordan should surge against its mouth. Can anyone capture it by the rise of trap it and pierce its nose?